T-minus 30 seconds.
DeAndre Hopkins! Justin Jefferson, have a day! What a catch! C.D. Lamb! Only this guy, I think. I mean, maybe I'm trying to think of somebody else.
And he hurdles his way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Oh, snared for the interception by Kenny Moore!
2, 1, 0.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome into the final drive. I'm your host, Josh Frey-Sam. Another beautiful, painful, if you're a Chiefs -4.5 better prime time game. That was incredible. If you are coming off of, you are just watching Sunday Night Football, man, we have been blessed with primetime games in the early going of the season. I am pretty fired up for the week 2 edition here. And you want to know what? We don't got a guest this week. We no personality this week, but I do have a very important and special guest co-host and a gentleman who I've known for the better part of this year, actually, Mr. Jelani Goodrich-Reid, all the way out from Toronto, Ontario. So I'm going to bring him in, of the Cowboys faithful. Jelani, what's going on, brother?
Yo, thanks for having me on the show. I just want to say that opening montage was hard. I don't know if you did that or if you got someone else to do that, but that was proper.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you, man. We had a crazy Sunday of football, dude. That was man, every Sunday is crazy in the NFL.
Right,
you know,
right.
Let's kick it off, man. With actually, I want to talk about my bets first and foremost. I know that you dabble with the betting a little bit here and there, but you didn't have any bets today going?
Not today. I'm gonna give this one to you. You've got the floor.
I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Well, I actually had a pretty successful day. It didn't end very well. I had Chiefs 4.5. Or Chiefs 4, whatever it was. So that kind of sucked. But and that was looking pretty good throughout most of the game. But obviously couldn't really stop the run. We'll get into that right away. But had a 5-leg teaser parlay that hit. I took Jets team total under 18.5 because Bill Belichick versus rookie quarterbacks.
Right,
you and I both know.
All the
obviously,
time.
It's just water and oil. You know, they don't mix very well. I had a 2-leg prop parlay. I think that was Derrick Henry anytime touchdown, along with Patrick Mahomes in this game throwing 3 touchdown passes, which was huge. And then I also had Bucks -13, and then Bills covered 3.5 against the Dolphins. So overall, a pretty successful day. Obviously lost on the Chiefs 4.5 bet there, but let's start there, man, with Sunday Night Football. Chiefs are special, man. Chiefs are special, but like they couldn't stop the run, obviously.
Right.
Like, they couldn't stop Lamar Jackson himself. What were some of your takeaways while watching this game, Sunday Night Football? Again, we've been blessed with another beautiful Sunday Night Football game. What were your takeaways while watching the game? And now that you've maybe had a total of 30 seconds to digest this thing, what are your takeaways from Sunday Night Football?
Yeah, man, it was a great game. Obviously, Lamar, Patrick, this is, marquee matchup. Everyone loves this game when the Ravens play the Chiefs. And what I saw today was a battle of strengths. We saw the strength on KC, that's the passing game. And then Baltimore, we know about the running game. It was Lamar and the guys in the backfield. Obviously, you don't have Edwards, and then you don't have J.K. Dobbins there. But everyone coming up, it's next man up, basically, in this league. And you're seeing what's happening in Baltimore right now with their running back by committee. We even saw Devontae Freeman out there doing some stuff. So, Lamar Jackson, fabulous efforts today. And a lot of people are like, oh, he's a running back. No, he's not. Okay. This is just, they're playing to their strengths. They're doing what they know to do. They know how to win by doing this, right? And we just saw it right now. And this is huge. I think this is a big win. I know it's week 2, but just for the psyche of Lamar Jackson. Why? Because when you're talking about Lamar Jackson, you're talking about a guy who is compared to Patrick Mahomes. They're, both 2018 MVP Patrick, then 2019 was Lamar. Pat has the ring, has everything else. And then you're looking at Lamar over there. He's saying to himself, man, I need to get there. I need to beat this guy. he hasn't even beat him yet. And then tonight,
Yeah.
it's a huge W for him. And also following what happened last week against Las Vegas, I think they needed a win just to, get over that. And yeah, no, it was a huge win. But I do, when looking on the other side with KC, I think they're going to be fine. I still think they're just one of the best teams, if not the best team in football right now. So they'll be fine. It was just some things, some things weren't there at times in this game, but credit due to the Ravens in that defense today.
No doubt. And like you said, I mean, this is just a little blip in the road for the Kansas City Chiefs. There's still, without a doubt, I don't think anybody's going to deny that they are not, or that anybody's going to deny that they are the cream of the crop of the AFC. This team is still so special. I mean, they were making crazy plays, and a couple things that I wanted to note as well, just with Baltimore specifically, first and foremost, a lot of credit goes to Greg Roman. I thought that Chris Collinsworth, I'm not out here to throw any, shade at anybody or nothing like that, but I'm not the biggest Chris Collinsworth fan in the world.
I love that guy, bro.
You love Chris Collins, eh? Okay,
Yes.
fair enough, man. To each their own. But I thought he did a great job today of dissecting what the Ravens are doing on offense and all the different kinds of nuances that they do. And that's a large credit to go to Greg Roman, the offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens. The same read option that we saw Colin Kaepernick when it first broke into the NFL. You know what I mean? It's not just the classic shotgun and fake this and read the end and go. Obviously, you are reading the same things. You're reading the edge rusher, but the different nuances in terms of, you saw with the blocking schemes with the double pulling guards, or with you have Patrick Ricard in the backfield and you just have that the full house backfield there, pistol or whatever you got going on. They have so many different nuances of what is this read option or this power quarterback run game. They're effective at doing it. And like you said, I mean, Lamar Jackson, I'm never going to put him among I shouldn't ever say it never, but me personally, I don't think he will ever be among the NFL's elite when it comes to arm talent or just pure thrower of the football, but he doesn't need to be, you know what I mean? They're winning games right now. Obviously the Raiders had enough of it figured out to edge out a win, but and then also with the Chiefs, I just want to touch on real quick. The Chiefs were crazy because, I mean, this vertical offense I thought was really impressive to watch. You watch it more and more every week or whatever, and there's different takeaways. And with one of the things was, you see Patrick Mahomes break down and create this secondary play, and then he dumps it off to, let's say, Travis Kelce. But the nature of this offense has so many people going downfield, right, that it's almost acts as this advanced version of the screen game or something like that. You see these guys, it's as soon as one of their teammates get the ball, the awareness that they have to just turn around and find a body to block, you know what right. I mean? And you saw with just a couple of these checkdowns today, and it turned into big plays. They turned into touchdowns, and so the Chiefs offense, man, is just so much fun to watch. They just got nothing but speed. And you see it trying to be replicated around the league right now. But I mean, the Ravens right now, what do you think as far as going forward, for the Ravens? Do you see them as a playoff team? Because personally,
what do you think?
Okay, before the season started, I honestly, and this is it's easy to make this decision now 2 weeks in, but I personally did not have the Ravens making the playoffs. I maybe now that I see them beat the Chiefs, recency bias maybe puts them at a 7th seed for me. But yeah. Even now, I don't know, man. I don't know if I quite see them making the playoffs. What about you?
It's tough because, you look at their roster, despite the win tonight, they are still banged up. A lot of guys on IR. And that's not going to help any matters. So, and you look at Lamar, what is he going to do? He's had a slow start. The Raiders game, you could look at that game, say he didn't quite look like himself. Tonight, looking more like Lamar. However, there were some mistakes, especially, throwing the ball tonight. There's, those 2 picks with Matthew, decision-making, certain times there was just, blunders in terms of decision making and everything like that. So, but I do think he could try to lead this team despite all the injuries and all that sort of thing. The one thing that I agree with you on, in terms of probably not putting them in the playoffs, is the fact that the AFC, you look at the North, that's probably a division with 3 teams. eyeing a playoff spot. I know they added the one, set the 7th team in the playoffs. However, you're looking at other teams in other divisions. Where do the Ravens fit? I don't see them top tier with KC at all. I do have them in the playoffs. I do, but it's more so wild card. I think that they're a wild card team. I don't put them over the Browns because the Browns have the personnel. They just need to make it work. And then the Steelers are there. I just don't trust Big Ben. He's not the same Big Ben. So I put the Ravens right at number 2 in the North. Where does that happen though? I put them in the wild card.
Okay, then that's fair enough. I'm actually personally, I think it sounds like I'm a little bit higher on the Pittsburgh Steelers than you are personally. Like I think the Pittsburgh Steelers just with Big Ben, although Big Ben isn't, earlier 2000s Big Ben by any stretch of the imagination, but I still think with that defense and whatnot, I think that'll get them to the playoffs and whatnot. But I guess only time will tell. Let's go on to another game here. Let's go on to your Dallas Cowboys, man.
Absolutely.
I see the smile coming on
sir.
Right there, man. This is
come on, man.
The Cowboys faithful. There you go, man. I got you. I'll go back. You see 12
that's tomorrow.
Yep.
You guys better win tomorrow. Hey, Aaron better play tomorrow, or else the media's gonna flame this man.
Yeah, man. It's you want to know what? Speaking of the media, one thing that I will say. So I don't know about you, but I wonder if we're gonna be hearing Mike McCarthy getting questioned this week on, hey, is Tony Pollard, you guys are using him quite a bit there. Tony Pollard, is he going to be your starting back going forward? What is your take on that, man? I thought Tony Pollard for me he's a starting caliber running back in the NFL. I think the Cowboys are blessed to have him as their backup running back. But what are your thoughts on Tony Pollard's use the overall game tonight?
Yeah, week 1 against the Bucks, a lot of people were crying about, okay, where's Zeke? Why is he not touching the ball? That game did not call for running the football. It just didn't. And Pollard specifically, he's somebody that is just as good as Zeke in the passing game. So that's why we saw a bit more of Pollard last week. And that carried over to this week. And what else really impressed me is the running. Pollard has been here for a while now, and he's been someone that's gone under the radar. He's one of the better, backups in the league. And yes, I agree with you. He could start on several teams in this league. And that's the problem now, for Dallas and the media. A lot of people are going to be like, okay, you got Tony here taking carries, taking touches from Zeke, because I think they had similar amount of touches, back-to-back weeks now. And you're looking at the speed, though. I think that's the one thing. Pollard is a bit quicker off the ball, and off, once he touches the ball, he just has that extra burst, right? Yeah. And that's not to say that Zeke can't do it. I'm a huge Zeke fan, and I still think Zeke could have a pretty nice year, but it's definitely going to look a bit different now in Dallas. I'll say it's not just going to be Ezekiel Elliott anymore. It's not. You're going to have a tandem now. And I think that works, right? When you're not passing the ball all the time, that's when, like we saw today, that's when you win. You need to run the football. That's what I wanted to see from Dallas today. That's what we saw today, and it worked. It helped. It helped us advance down the field. You give it to Zeke, fine. Once he gets tired, you give it to Pollard. I love this combination, and I think, moving forward, you're going to see a lot more of Tony Pollard. I think people are going to need him in fantasy. I have him on my team. Okay. He gave me 20 something points today. So yeah, rely on him because he's definitely getting more attention in this offense.
No question. And the other thing is I know that there's going to be a lot of questions raised with the Zeke versus Pollard going forward, just simply because of contractual, you know what I mean? You look at contractually, Zeke is possibly, he has an out in his contract coming up, man. And he could be let go eventually, whether it's this offseason or even next offseason, you know what I mean? And Tony Pollard is going to be there, possibly looked at as a lot of people, fresher legs, you know what I mean? Yeah. Why not cost less? You know what I mean? Dish Zeke, see you later. I'm not saying that's the case. I'm not saying it. I'm just saying that is without a doubt, that with the spotlight being down on the Cowboys and that star, man, America's team, that question is going to be raised. But I do want to go to the other side of the ball here with your defense. Dan Quinn, man, I was really high on the Cowboys coming into this year for the plain reason that what they did on the defensive side of the ball, I was confident Dak was going to come in this year, get right, lead this offense. This offense was going to pick up right where they left off last year. There was no issues when Dak was healthy, right? The defensive side of the ball obviously was where the issues lied, right? But Dan Quinn has just already shown that he is still, I think, head coaching material, if you ask me. I think that he's going to be a good coordinator. He was a good coordinator in Seattle, and now obviously here in Dallas as well. He's bringing over that cover three scheme. And the other thing is, you look at, for example, a guy like Trayvon Diggs. That's who I was most excited about coming into this year. I know that you were a big advocate for getting Patrick Surtain in the draft. I was as well. I thought he was going to go to the Cowboys as well. But at the same time, you look at what Dan Quinn's scheme is. And for a lot of people that are maybe watching that don't know, and that cover three shell is you have your eyes as a cornerback, you have your eyes on the quarterback. You're able to backpedal, keep your eyes on the quarterback, and make a play on the ball. That's why a lot of people were so excited about seeing a guy like Patrick Peterson when they brought over that. I can't even remember who the defensive coordinator was now, but he brought it over when Patrick Peterson was in Arizona. People were like, well, Patrick Peterson's one of the best athletes on the field at any given moment. You know, he's going to be able to keep his eyes on the quarterback and just go drive. He's going to end up with a bunch of interceptions. Now you have that cover three scheme with Trayvon Diggs. And Trayvon Diggs, you and I both know, coming out into the draft a couple seasons ago, what was Trayvon Diggs' biggest, up plus on his check sheet there was the fact that he was so good playing the ball in the air. He's Stephon Diggs' brother, man. You know, he's a brother of a wide receiver. He turns into a wide receiver when that ball is in the air. And so now in Dan Quinn's scheme, I really do think Trayvon Diggs is going to solidify himself this year as a solid starting caliber cornerback in this league. And I think he's going to come up with a bunch of interceptions. He came up with an interception today. I believe, on a pass to Keenan Allen. I'm really excited about this defense. And then also, last thing I'll note before flipping it over to you on this defense is the amount of athletes they have on here. You know, like, I mean, Micah Parsons added to that, right? He showed his versatility getting after the passer today. You also have Jabril Cox, who they drafted and put in the draft. Keanu Neal, pardon me. Keanu Neal, man, he's a safety by nature, but switching over to coming in as that dime backer kind of thing and whatnot. And so they just have athletes flying all over the field right now on this defense, the way Dan Quinn likes it. And again, just that cover three shell that he's implemented now, and just his nature of his coaching. Man, the Cowboys, I personally think this is their division to lose, even though I'm really high on the Washington football team. I think this Cowboys division to lose. What do you say about the Cowboys defense here?
Yeah, you know, last year was just abysmal. It was tough to watch. So, you know, bringing Quinn in here, you talk about the cover three, you talk about, you know, what he's doing already. We see a difference. You know, this defense is becoming a bit more respectable week by week. We're seeing it game by game. And, you know, you highlighted Diggs. I love that pick that we got a few years ago. I'm a huge Alabama fan, so it works out for me. But yeah, you know, he's somebody that definitely is going to be the mainstay in the secondary moving forward. And I love his ball skills. He's quick. He understands. He has good awareness. Last season, he could have had plenty of picks. He could have had like 5 picks last year. It was just, you know, catching the ball didn't work out. But, you know, what impressed me was he got there. He knew how to get there, when to get there, when the ball is in the air. So all those things added on to, you know, this training camp, this off season, getting in the system. You know, that's what we're seeing already from Diggs. So he's impressing me for sure. As a Dallas Cowboy fan, this is what, yes, Cowboys, Bama. Yes, you already know. So, so you know, when you're looking at the secondary, that's what I like. And then looking up front, today we saw something different because Parsons was playing at the DE spot, defensive end. Obviously, no DeMarcus Lawrence. That's hurting us for sure. And then you don't have a Randy Gregory out there because of COVID. But what you mentioned was the athletes on this team, right? And what did I say before? It's a league of next man up. So we're seeing a lot of action today. We saw that we actually got to Justin Herbert today, and that was the name of the game. That's why we won the game today. I think that Parsons was impressive. Dorrance Armstrong was impressive. All these guys getting after him, you know, having action from the inside, outside, all that sort of thing. And then the one thing I'm looking at this season, not including Parsons, I'm looking at those linebackers. I'm looking at what can Leighton Vander Esch do for me this year? What can Jalen Smith do for me this year? Because in 2018, the year where we went to the playoffs, we lost the Rams in the second round, we were talking about those two as being maybe the best duo in the league.
No
And
doubt.
then the past few years, it's gone a bit murky. It hasn't gone as smoothly as we've liked, and that's because of injuries. Can Leighton Vander Esch stay healthy? That's really the question. He looked nice today. He did some huge things for us defensively today, and also Jalen Smith. A lot of people are talking about maybe he's fallen off a bit. The tackling isn't there, the pursuit isn't there. I think that he could still find that form in 2018. It's just a matter of how is it going to come up? When is it going to come up? I do believe in him, but overall, as a Cowboys fan, you need to be impressed so far this season. I know the Bucks, week one, they're the Bucks. I mean, the Avengers of the league. They're going to score some points. However, there were several, drives where you saw the Cowboys actually put up a fight. And then this week against the Chargers, everyone was talking, including myself. I thought this was going to be a game where we're seeing plenty of touchdowns, both sides of the field. I thought Justin Herbert was going to do, a lot of damage to this team. He did in terms of completions and all that sort of thing, but we didn't break. We bent a bit, but we didn't break. That is what I'm impressed with. And, looking at the East this year, Washington, Dallas, that is, that's the battle. That's what we're looking at. I'm not sold on New York. Sorry, Daniel Jones. I'm not sold on Philly. Hate the Eagles. I don't even want to talk about the Eagles. But when I'm looking at that battle between Washington and Dallas, it's becoming something where Washington, it's the offense, Dallas is the defense. In terms of Dallas specifically, Dallas does not need to be the 2000 Ravens. We do not need to be the 85 Bears. You just need to be respectable. You need to have pursuit. You need to know how to make some tackles. You know how to be in terms of secondary.
Really a game that did not get a lot of attention coming into this week. I want to go to the Cincinnati Bengals at the Chicago Bears, and I want to go here for really one reason. And I have a buddy who's a Cincinnati Bengals fan. Whatever. Okay. That's, I think, enough said there. Anyways, I got a buddy who's a Cincinnati Bengals fan, and I bugged him a lot because coming into this draft, I was very much on board, all in on Rashawn Slater going to the Bengals. Rashawn Slater, a guy who can play all 5 positions on the offensive line. What were the Bengals' needs? Needs A through Z was the offensive line. You know what I mean? Coming in this year, right? So I was very much sold on take Rashawn Slater. I thought he was the best overall lineman coming into this draft. Maybe even Penei Sewell you could have taken, but regardless, Rashawn Slater was the pick for me. They didn't take him. They took Jamar Chase instead. And since then, the reason why I mentioned my buddy was because since then I've been bugging him about, through Jamar Chase and the drops and all that, whatever, in the preseason, all that garbage, whatever. I still think Jamar Chase is going to be a very good football player in the NFL. It's just a matter of, I think that Rashawn Slater, I still stand by it, was the pick there. And to my point, the Bengals have allowed 9 sacks through 2 games in 2021. I mean, I had a person, I tweeted it out today, and a person said, well, one person doesn't just fix the entire offensive line. Well, I mean, by that logic, then, thank you. By that logic, I mean, you probably just shouldn't draft any offensive lineman then, right? I mean, just plug in a bunch of Band-Aids there. But regardless, Joe Burrow, he actually struggled today quite a bit. The only reason why they were in this game was because of an interception. I think it was thrown by Justin Fields later in the game, and allowed the Bengals to actually, I think they covered for me in my teaser parlay. But I don't know if you checked out this game or not, but what were your thoughts overall just on the Bengals, just their struggles protecting Joe Burrow through 2 games right now? I mean, they are 1-1. They have stuck around. They won a game and even only lost by 3 points in the second game. What is your overall thoughts on the Cincinnati Bengals and just their outlook for 2021?
Right. Yeah, no, I was tuning into that a bit today just to see how, Fields played, how Burrow played today. And I love Joe Burrow. I think he's going to be a guy who's going to have a nice career in this league. However, you need to get him a line. All right, you need to get him aligned. It was terrible today. This guy has no time back there, just none. And he's running for his life. You wonder why. You wonder why everyone was screaming for an O-line this offseason. Because last year, what happened? You got hurt, right?
Yeah.
Pretty bad injury. And you don't want to risk any more injury to your franchise. He is your franchise, right? This offense is operating pretty well. If you look at what they have some guys on that offense that could play. T. Higgins, you look at Tyler Boyd, you bring in Chase, Mixon, very good running back, who I don't think many people really notice or talk about enough. Joe Burrow, all these guys. But if you have an O-line, this team might move forward, might move in the right direction moving forward. So that was the point of emphasis. I don't think, like, at the time of the draft, I was like, you know what, Chase, nice pick. That should help out things in the air, but I would have gone O-line. Like you said, I would have gone O-line, whether if it was Slater, whether it was Sewell, whoever it was. I think that was where they should have gone. They didn't. So what you are watching now is an offense that has the talent, to do some things. They could contend, in the future, not this year, but in the future, they could have some nice offenses, moving forward. However, you need an O-line. You can't do anything in this league without an O-line. It doesn't matter if you have Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, Drew Brees back there. It doesn't matter who you have back there. You need to protect the quarterback. And the Bears, they just got to him. That's why they had 3 points on the board all day, because they couldn't do anything. They couldn't move the ball down the field because Burrow has no time back there.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. Yeah, and I mean, also just on one other note before we move on to another game here. I mean, Eddie Jackson for me has actually struggled pretty early out of the gate. I think Eddie Jackson's one of the premier safeties in the NFL, and he's struggled. That's just another side note. I thought he had a pretty poor play in the season opener on Sunday Night Football against the who were they playing? The Rams, pardon me. And then just had a pretty lackluster play, and then another pretty lackluster play today. I think it was against Jamar Chase. I could be wrong, but yeah, it was just Eddie Jackson's had a pretty tough start to this season as well. Let's go on. Let's break down two more games here before we call it a night. I want to go to Los Angeles Rams and the Indianapolis Colts. And I mean, besides the Cowboys and the who are they playing today? Cowboys and
Chargers.
Chargers, thank you.
Yeah.
Besides the Cowboys and the Chargers game, I thought this was probably the best game on paper for the day. Rams, their defense was they bent and then did not break twice. The Colts early on in the game got down inside, I think, the 10-yard line. 2 turnovers, no points for the Colts there. Now, in saying that, I also thought that Carson Wentz played very, very well today. I think that a lot of people, one thing I'll say on this game before I turn it over to you is a lot of people's expectations of Carson Wentz right now are he came into this league as the second overall pick, and then he even early on his career was playing at an MVP level, right? Before he got hurt en route to the Eagles winning the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah.
Was playing at an MVP level. And I think a lot of people are just expecting now, along with the fact that he's a high pick and he has already shown that he can play at a high level, people are expecting him to get back to that. And until he gets back to that, he's a bust and he is not a serviceable quarterback, and leave him alone. I personally think that I used to think that Carson Wentz could be a top 5 quarterback in this league. Do I still think that? No. I think that he could definitely be a top 12 quarterback in this league, even possibly a top 10 quarterback in this league, especially in this system. I think that him with Frank Reich again, I think that Carson Wentz has a lot of upside here. I think that he showed that upside today. I thought that he played very well today. Overall, I think that he's playing a very good defense today in the Los Angeles Rams, and he still showed out. He made some pretty vintage Carson Wentz plays in terms of dropping back, slipping under a pursuing tackler, climbing the pocket, extending plays. He made a lot of really nice plays today. That's my take on it. I think a lot of people are giving Carson Wentz a hard time. Yes, is he playing up to the second overall pick that he was drafted at? Maybe not, but that doesn't mean that he is not in a good system now and he couldn't have a resurgence in his career. I think people need to temper their expectations just a little bit, because being a solid quarterback in the NFL is still very good for a second overall pick. I'll turn it over to you on your thoughts on this game.
Yeah, when I'm looking at Carson Wentz, first of all, he played well today, like you said. He had them in the game throughout the whole day. They had the lead as well at one point. But yeah, I'm looking at Carson and I'm like, okay, this is your chance for a resurrection, right?
Mhm.
You leave a bad situation in Philly after everything happened, your injury. Okay, Nick Foles gets it done in the Super Bowl, and then Jalen Hurts comes in out of nowhere, and then he's behind your back, and it's like, okay, is it Hurts? Is it Wentz? Blah blah blah. So you're not in that toxic environment anymore. You go to Indy. You have Frank Reich, like you mentioned. You have Frank Reich who helped you nearly get the MVP had you not got hurt in 2017. The system works for him. The whole Indianapolis Colts, just the franchise, the organization. It's a nice one. So I think this is a
Yeah.
new era for him. This is a new time for him to impress us once more and really remind us of the potential he has. He has enormous potential, right? He can be that guy that could possibly lead a team, deep in the playoffs or probably to even more. So yeah, I'm looking at this as a potential year where we're saying, okay, Carson, it's your time to prove us wrong. It's time
Yeah.
for you to show us that you still got it. Because honestly, if he doesn't do well in Indy, I don't know where it goes after that. I don't
It's tough.
know, what's next for him. So
Yeah.
definitely that. But today, specifically, he had a great game. He had a great game, and you can't take anything away from him. And furthermore, you're playing the Rams, who have a really nice defense, a really impressive defense. We did see, on one hit that Aaron Donald laid on him, his ankle. So we're
Yeah.
going to see how that plays out. It's pretty unfortunate. I don't want him to get hurt, right? Even when he was in Philly. Even though I hate the Eagles, I just don't like injuries in general. So
Mm.
I'm wishing nothing but the best for him in Indianapolis. He's one of my guys that I'm really keeping an eye on because, again, himself, I'm looking at Matt Stafford, who was on the other side today. I'm looking at those two guys as guys who need, to prove us wrong, that need a resurrection
Mm.
in some way. But yeah, no, I think Carson, he's a good quarterback. He has the tools, it's just, can he be that guy that we once saw?
Yeah, no doubt. I agree with you for sure. And yeah, one other thing I'll say on this game, man, is Jalen Ramsey, man.
Yes,
Like,
sir.
holy mother of
Love that
God,
guy.
he is just such a dog, man. There's some players, man, who just talk. There are players who are just good and don't talk. And
Yeah.
then there's guys like Jalen Ramsey that come around not too often, I don't think, man, where it's like that's the comparables to Deion Sanders, man, just through and through, just a freak athlete who just talks his talk, walks the walk, man. And he's living in LA now, man. You know what I mean? Like,
know.
he's in LA. Like, the fact that before he was in Jacksonville and he was just on his dog stuff there, like that was different too. Like, that was super dope. But like, now
He's
he's
happy
just in
now.
LA. He's happy now. He's just, the lights
Yep.
on him, and like he's able to go about his business. He's staying out of any kind of trouble. He's able to just go about his business throughout the week. And then on Sundays, man, he just does his thing, man. He's
Best in the
competing at
game.
a Hall of Fame level. He is the best in the game without a doubt. I love my guy Jair over here in Green Bay, but
Yeah, no,
Jalen
he's,
Ramsey,
he's close. He's close for sure.
yeah, but Jalen Ramsey is he's a different league of his own, man. Let's wrap this up, man, with the final game here. Let's go Minnesota Vikings at the Arizona Cardinals. This might have been, I mean, maybe besides the Sunday Night Football game here tonight, this might have been the best game of the day, really.
Yeah,
This was
exciting.
kind of it was. There was a lot of points on the board. I mean, this was an entertaining one, and like, this was kind of a weird game, though. I thought that, I was talking to a buddy earlier today about Kyler Murray just trying to do too much at some points in time. And I hate to be like very negative about Kyler Murray. I'm a fan of his. I think that he's proven that he is a solid starter in the NFL. But what Kyler Murray's done here is just like he had a turnover nearing the end. I think it was in the fourth quarter of the game, maybe the third quarter of the game, where he just should have ate the play. He just should have ate it, and he bombed it into like triple coverage downfield, and it ended up in an interception. And I said, you know what, man, like, that is just the new age of quarterbacks, of just trying to do too much. They're able to move around, right? They're mobile quarterbacks, but they're just trying to do too much. It's just, the play's dead. Eat the play, call it, live to fight another down. That's just simple as that. That's just not that you live and you die by that, right? Kyler Murray, he's able to do some freakish plays. Other times he just does too much and ends up costing his team a little bit. You live and you die by it. But regardless of all that, I think that the Arizona Cardinals pulling out on top of this game was pretty huge for them. Kyler Murray, I think that he was actually playing probably in the first half there. He was playing at probably an MVP level. Like, I think I texted one of my group chats and I said, like Kyler's probably an early MVP, making an early MVP bid right now, but like after that second half was a little bit more concerning, whatever. Is there anything that stood out to you for this game? I know that Dalvin Cook, 22 carries, $131. He was averaging 6 on the ground today. These defenses who are really trying to pride themselves this year and really, assert themselves this year, they didn't look so good in this game. What stood out to you in this one?
Yeah, Kyler Murray, like you mentioned, he was the guy today. Great start to the year, honestly. He's definitely, for me, he's one of the guys, early MVP talks for sure. But I'm looking at Minnesota because I'm looking at this team and I'm saying to myself, they have a pretty nice roster. They have a roster where they could probably make a bid to be in the hunt for a playoff spot. That's what I believe. My early predictions were the Vikings. Probably watch them. They had a good showing today. However, their defense is the problem. And that's the thing. I was coming into this season looking at the defense, of 2020, and they were hurt. They were banged up a lot. That's why they didn't have a good year. The Vikings did. So you come into this season and you're expecting them to make some strides. No, we haven't seen that. 2 games, you're allowing almost 1,000 yards in total. Everything is not working out for you. Kyler Murray, just dishing it out everywhere on the field. First week we saw what happened to the Vikings as well. So, the Vikes, they have Kirk Cousins. A lot of people aren't sure about Kirk Cousins, myself included. Is he can he be that guy? Guy that they were talking about 2017. Remember, they made it to the championship game. And then Case Keenum was there at the time. And then they're like, okay, we need a quarterback. If we have a quarterback, we're going to Super Bowl. Well, you bring Kirk in the door, and that's what he was brought in for. He was brought in to become that guy to propel the Vikings to further heights. Hasn't happened yet. So I'm looking at him, right, along with that defense, but I'm looking at him and I'm saying, okay, Kirk, you got to prove it. Today he played nice. He played an excellent game. Things just go astray for Minnesota again. The kicking, it seems like it never stops for Minnesota. I don't know what it is. Some voodoo or something happening in the in Minneapolis. I'm really looking at this team in the NFC. The NFC is a lot of teams up in there. Where do the Vikings fit? I just don't know where they fit, because initially I'm like, okay, maybe they can make something happen this season. They have the talent on offense. Dalvin Cook, those receivers. You got Kirk Cousins, who isn't a bad quarterback, isn't top 5, but he's pretty good when you look at it in its entirety. But the defense, man, I don't know what's happening with them. They're not the same defense that we saw. I don't expect them to be, that same defense that we saw a few years ago. But I just thought that they would come out this season and have a better showing within the first 2 weeks. And honestly, they need to wake up, because they could start 0-4. I know they play the Browns pretty soon, and I forget who else they play, but it's not an easy first 4 games. So they might start off with a bad start, and you can't have that. And I know the North, you're looking at the Packers. I think the Packers are going to wake up. The Bears, not sold yet. We'll see what happens there. Detroit, sorry. But the Minnesota Vikings have an opportunity to probably make, a push to be in the hunt for the playoffs this year with that roster and with Zimmer. We'll see what happens, though.
Yeah, one thing I'll ask you here on that note is what team, what are you more surprised about, not what team are you most surprised about? What are you more concerned about, the Vikings at 0-2 or in the AFC, the Indianapolis Colts at 0-2?
I'd say the Vikings. I'd say the Vikings, just based on the fact that the NFC, there are a lot more players for the wild card. I think when you're talking about the NFC, you're looking at all the divisions, there are plenty of teams. Like, you look at the West, there's going to be probably 3 teams coming out of that division, right? Probably. The NFC East, there's going to be 1 team. the South, you have Tampa, but who knows? Can New Orleans not do what they did today? Can they do what they did week one? We'll see what happens. But then, and then the North, obviously, I think the Vikings are somebody that can be in that, in that section where you're looking right at the wild card. But then when you're talking about Indianapolis, I'm looking at their division.
Yeah.
And the Titans, I know they won today, but it was narrow win and 2 slow starts for the Titans in back-to-back games. I don't really know what's going on there. Their defense needs a retool. I'm not impressed with their defense. I just haven't been.
Ugly.
So the Jaguars are there. Sorry, not a player. Texans, unfortunately, Tyrod Taylor gets hurt. So you got Davis Mills coming in. I don't know what's going on in Houston. So that is where the Colts this season, they need to pounce on this. Tennessee, we don't know how they're looking. I know they won. Again, I know they won, but we don't know how they're looking. It might be a 2-team race in that division for an automatic bid to the playoffs, whereas Minnesota, they're dealing with a lot more.
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, especially on that. Like, I was actually my first, when I asked you the question, I was actually immediately going to go to the Colts. But, like, I was just, as you were kind of talking or whatever, and as soon as you said about, like, the division, and I was kind of thinking to myself, you want to know what? Yeah, that's actually a good plan, or a good note, especially if you're talking about, if you're talking about the AFC South right now. Like, I mean, I was never high on Jacksonville going into the season or the Texans. I actually have a futures bet down right now for Texans finishing last in the NFL. That's how high I was, or how low I was on the Houston Texans. So there's that. But then also, I mean, the Tennessee Titans coming out with, like, they are looking like, I'm actually concerned for the Tennessee Titans. Like, even though they won today, did they show some grit today? No question. But, like, I mean, Derrick Henry took a half to get going, right? They weren't able to really run the ball super effectively. Obviously, Derrick Henry finished with like another 200 yards on the ground or something like that. Ridiculous today. But regardless, like, they got off to slow starts, and you're not going to be able to get off to slow starts all the time. I'm genuinely concerned for the Tennessee Titans, and I think that Indianapolis Colts are fielding a top 10, probably even, in my opinion, top 5 defense in the NFL this year. I think that if Carson Wentz to get the wheels turning, he can do that. I think that the Colts, I'm a little bit less concerned for them. Minnesota Vikings, I would agree with you on that. Okay, Jelani, I think that's going to do it, man. One last thing I will ask you, though, is I know we talked about predictions leading up before, like, off air, man. What do you have? Do you have a bold prediction off the cuff? I hate to put you on the spot, but do you have a bold prediction for this year? And then also, do you have a Super Bowl prediction, matchup prediction?
All right, well, bold. Let me go with, I don't know if it's too bold, but I'm going to say that that Christian McCaffrey, I think he's going to have a fantastic year. He's my pick for Offensive Player of the Year. I find that he could have a 2K scrimmage yards year, whether if that's in the air doing 1K and then on the ground. But I think that's going to happen this year. He's just phenomenal. He's one of my favorites in the game, arguably the best running back in the game. So look for him to probably reach a 2,000 yards scrimmage year. And then for you mentioned for Super Bowl, you want my
Super Bowl matchup prediction? Yeah.
Okay. Well, I was initially saying the Pack will go. We'll go to the Super Bowl.
You're the second guest that has come, man. Like, last year I had last week I had John Shipley on from the Jaguars report, and he came on. He said, I had the Pack versus the Chiefs, but Sorry, go ahead. Keep going.
Let me do that this week, okay? Because I had the Packers Chiefs. And I'm not just basing it on what we saw week one. I think that was just a fluke performance. I've never seen that from Aaron Rodgers and company. I think they're going to have a great week. They're playing Detroit. What a break. And then they're going to have sorry, Detroit fans. I'm sorry. But then they're going to have the Niners after. I think they'll have a nice few weeks ahead of them. But I'm looking at Tampa, man. I'm looking at the GOAT, Tom Brady, Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. I'm going to say that the Bucs are going to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl in a rematch. We haven't seen that since, I believe, my Cowboys played the Bills in the 90s. So it's been a while. We don't really see this often, but I don't see a team that has the personnel in the NFC. There are some usual suspects. You might look at the Packers. A lot of people mentioning the 49ers. I don't know about their start so far this year, but they will. Yeah. I think they'll be okay. You're looking at Seattle. Can I trust them? I don't know. So I'm going to go with Tampa, just with that team. The talent is there. The roster is there. Everyone comes back from the previous year. They're going to play the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I don't see anyone in the AFC right now. Buffalo, they're good. They're really good. Could contend for that spot, but I just don't see them over Mahomes and company. And then Cleveland, I think Cleveland would actually play. I have them playing KC in the championship game in AFC. Just because if Baker can get this done, man, you have the personnel in Cleveland to make a push, and they were close. We saw week 1. They're close. But I can't put anyone over KC in the AFC. So my Super Bowl, Chiefs, Bucks, Mahomes gets his revenge on the GOAT, Tom Brady, in a tight one. I believe in that offensive line in KC. I think that was the name of the game. We saw what happened in February. It was ugly. It was so ugly. You make sure to protect your franchise in Patrick Mahomes. Also, Mahomes is healthier. I think people also forgot Mahomes was hurt. He's a bit hurt during the Super Bowl. That toe, he's coming off the concussion, all that stuff. He's coming back with a vengeance this year. I know they just lost. I know. But he's coming back with a vengeance this year. He is angry. He's hungry to get back to that spot. It's going to be tough, though, because we don't see teams go to 3 straight Super Bowls. Whether if you're great or, good team, it's hard to get there. We saw the Patriots do it a few years ago because, Bill and Tom, but I think it's going to happen this year. Chiefs over Bucks.
Don't hate it. Well, I mean, except for the NFC prediction, but whatever. AFC prediction, I don't hate that at all.
Packers in the second round. I think the Rams are actually going to the conference championship game to play the Bucks.
Okay. Yeah. I'll hold you to it, man. Well, Jelani, man, thank you times 1,000, man, for being on the second edition of the Final Drive. I hope, man, I can have you on again later this season. Hopefully we'll actually have I have the rest of this week was kind of an anomaly as far as my guest schedule goes. The rest of the year, I should have guests on tap, ready to go from different teams. And maybe I can bring you in when I think I have a Cowboys person on tap here. So, man, hopefully I can bring you in for that. But Jelani, thank you very much. And thank you to everybody else for if you did watch the second edition of the Final Drive. Jelani, thank you, man. Have a great night. And thank you, everybody, for watching the second edition of the Final Drive. Take care.